On the first foreign trip of his third term, Prime Minister Narendra Modi is in Italy, attending the summit of the Group of Seven, the G7 countries. The trip assumes significance as a re-elected Modi will interact with leaders of the West, most of whom are facing elections and dealing with the global turmoil with Russia and China at the center of the dominant issues. India's priority at the G7 should be to bring synergy between the agendas and outcomes of the G20 summit. After the G20 summit in Delhi last year, India is trying to emerge as a leader of the global south, a position which has gained significance in debates and discussions on climate change. Ever since it became a member of the outreach group in G7 in 2003, India always tried to push agenda items that are relevant for the rest of the global south, like climate, energy transition. It will be India's 11th participation in G7 summit and PM Modi's 5th consecutive participation. Interesting thing is that it's not just India that wants to emerge as a leader by being a part of G7. Truth is that the Western world wants India by its side. Let's see why. Given the increasing economic heft of the country, where India is aiming to become the 4th largest economy soon, India cannot be outside the major policy issues confronting the West. It is also the time when West is trying to contain China economically as well as geopolitically. India's importance grows because it is seen as a counter to China. India stands to gain majority from the G7 countries trying to shift their economic ties away from China to a friendly country. G7 leaders have called out China for dangerous incursions in the South China Sea and raising tensions in the trade between Beijing and the West. Then comes the invasion of Russia and Ukraine. Here also, India stands as a neutral country. The increasing Western concern over China's strengthening ties with Russia and possible military cooperations makes India a key Western ally despite its neutrality. And the most important of all is that for G7 to be relevant, it must demonstrate seriousness about the issues that India is campaigning, like artificial intelligence, energy, Africa, and the Mediterranean. Because political reality is that G7 itself has lost its relevance and charm after 5 decades of its existence. Like its 21st century cousin, the G20, this body was essentially a product of financial crisis in 1970s. Started as a group of 6 countries, US, France, Germany, Italy, Japan and UK. The body got additional members like Canada and Russia soon and became G8. Several countries including India, China and European Union became participants in the outreach program since 2003, also called G7+. After the expulsion of Russia in 2014, when it occupied Crimea, this group became G7. At the time of its creation, G8 was a powerful club of leading economies controlling almost 60% of the world's GDP. Today, the financial influence has greatly diminished. Moreover, the emergence of G20, now G21 after the inclusion of African Union last year, has overshadowed G7's importance. G21 is a much bigger grouping, controlling almost 80% of world's economy. Unlike G7, which is primarily a club of Western powers, G20 has representation from all parts of the world. But due to its size, it is also believed that G20 is too big and heterogeneous to come to a consensus and make decisions. Well, at the end, India should be aiming to hold bilateral talks with Japan and US, strengthen its ties with Italy, and de-stress its relations with Canada at this meet. I'm Shivani, and thanks for watching.